Hi everyone. So today's lesson is 7.11 GCF factoring trinomials. So what we're going to do today, we are going to do a couple things that we've done in past lessons. One is greatest common factor, and the other is factoring the trinomial completely. When we do that, usually that means that we're going to use more than one method to factor the trinomial. So we'll see a couple of examples of those going forward. Actually, let's do it now. All right, so example number one says 6x squared minus 4x minus 16. On the top of the page, you see that I have GCF because as we've been working through this unit, I've always said that the first thing we want to look for is the greatest common factor. So is there a greatest common factor between 6x squared, 4x, and 16? And the answer is yes, there is between the 6, the 4, and the 16. And the greatest common factor is 2. So 2 is the greatest common factor between those terms. Now, if I divide 2 to each one of those terms, which you know we do, I'm going to be left with 3x squared minus 2x minus 8. All right, now, so I still have a trinomial that needs to be factored. So at this point, since my leading coefficient is greater than 1, I'm going right for the magic x. So we know up top, because we've done a bunch of these already, I'm going to multiply the 3 and the 8. I know that's 3 and negative 8, sorry. So that's negative 24. Okay, so you should be working like right along with me or even ahead of me. That's all cool. I'm going to go nice and slow for the people who are still just getting the hang of this. I'm going to put my middle term down below. That's minus 2. So I have to think of which factors or numbers are going to multiply to negative 24 and add up to negative 2. So I know it's going to be 4 and negative 6. I know I could have listed the factors down on the side. You can do that. Or what you can do is use your Inspire, type in negative 24 divided by x, and then go right to the table. And that's going to give you the list of factors for negative 24. Okay, so my next step is to take each one of those, the 4 and the negative 6, and divide them by my leading coefficient. So my leading coefficient is 3. So that's 4 divided by 3, and that's negative 6 divided by 3. The only thing I have to do here is make sure that it is in lowest terms. So 4/3 is lowest term, so I'm good there. On the other side, I know I can reduce that. Okay, so that reduces to negative 2/1. All right, so now I'm going to bring down my greatest common factor, which is 2, and then I'm going to write my binomial. So I know this is the first term, so that's 3x plus 4. And on the other side, it's going to be x minus 2. Just absolutely love the x method. All right, all you do is just plot right in there. All right, now let's go to example number 2. Not too many today. This is a short lesson. I'll save the longer lessons for later in the week. Anyway, so I have 9x squared plus 15x plus 6. Again, the first thing I'm going to do is look and see if I have a greatest common factor between 9, 15, and 6. And I do. And you should be able to recognize that that is 3. Okay, so I'm going to write that down, and then I'm going to divide each term by 3. So if I divide the first term by 3, I'm left with 3x squared. The second, 5x. And then the last, 2, or plus 2. All right, so I have 3x that's squared. 3x squared plus 5x plus 2. All right, I know that can be factored possibly to 2 binomials. So I'm going to go straight for the x method because my leading coefficient is greater than 1. And you can use the x method, by the way, and I think I've showed that. And if I don't, I will in the future. you can use the x method when the leading coefficient is 1. So you can use it at any point in any time, as long as the trinomial is factorable. Okay, so I'm going to multiply the two outers. So 3 times 2 is 6. All right, the inner term is 5. I'm going to write that down. Terms that multiply to 6 and add up to 5 are 2 and 3. You can list or you can use your calculator. All right, so the last part, that's not the last part, but the next step is to divide by the leading coefficient. The leading coefficient is 3. All right, so I'm left with 2/3. That's reduced. And on the other side, that reduces to 1 over 1. Okay, that's fine. All right, so again, bring down my greatest common factor, which is 3. All right, set up my binomials. So my binomials are going to be 3x plus 2. And the second one is not going to be 1 plus 1. It's going to be x plus 1. And we should have that down now. All right, now how do I check to make sure that I have the correct factoring? Well, I can multiply to get back to that trinomial, and then I can multiply my greatest common factor to the trinomial to get back to the original trinomial. So you can do that to check and make sure you have the correct answer. These factoring problems or factoring trinomials, you know I say this quite a bit, but I do mean it, and I hope you hear it in later years when you don't have me as a teacher. They go on throughout math. So it's important to get this skill down. All right, sorry about that ringing noise. All right, anyway, so last problem. We have 12x squared minus 24x minus 63. Now this is one of those, I don't know what the greatest common factor is, or if there is one. Well, I don't have my calculator, but I just want to show this really quick. Okay, why do I have frozen screen? Okay, so we had the ringing of the phone, and then I just had the pen that died. So I had to switch pens. A lot going on. Anyway, so this 12x squared minus 24x minus 63, I want to know if what the greatest common factor is. So as I said to you earlier, what you can do in your calculator is you could put in GCD, and you could put that in for 12 and 24. And what that's going to do is that's going to give you an answer of 12. All right, and then what you can do from there, you can put it in again for 12 and 63. And that should give you an answer of 3. So there's just one way of finding the GCD when you have 3 numbers. All right, so since I know my greatest common factor is 3, so I'm going to put that on the outside. And then I'm going to divide each term by 3, just like we normally do. So I'm going to be left with 4x squared minus 8x minus 21. All right, immediately I know that my first term of that trinomial is greater than 1. So I'm going to the x. I'm going to multiply the 2. Whoa, that's crazy. That's what happens when you have a new pen. All right, so I'm going to multiply the 2 outers, and I get 48, negative 48. Inside, negative 8. I'm going to go to my calculator, and I'm going to say, all right, negative 48 divided by x. And then I see my list of factors or numbers that multiply the negative 48, and I know it's 6 and negative 14. All right, so what am I going to do now? Well, I'm going to divide both of those by my leading coefficient of 4. All right, so when I do that, this reduces to, the first one reduces to 3 over 2. And then the second one reduces to 7 over 2, negative 7 over 2. That's important. I am now done. So I bring down my 3, and my first binomial is going to be 2x plus 3. And then my second one is going to be 2x minus 7. Okay, I can multiply those two binomials to get that trinomial, and then I can multiply my greatest common factor to get back to 12x squared minus 24x minus 63 if I want to. All right, that's all the examples I want to give you. You have your assignment that's given to you on the weekly assignment sheet. You also have to remember to take a picture of one of the pages that I have listed there and submit that into Teams. So please check the Teams page for assignments. So I'm going to have you submit one of the homework pages, a picture of that, in the Teams. And that's it for now. Please stay safe, and I will see you soon, or see you later.